All right, Coach, congratulations on another 5-set victory over Kansas State for the second consecutive year. Just give me your initial thoughts on this one.
Right. We knew it was going to be a dogfight. We knew that they were coming in with a lot of confidence after sweeping Iowa State, a ranked team. And, they got a match off of Baylor, another ranked team. So we knew they were coming in. We expected the fight, and we got it. And I was proud how we came out of the gates. And that's kind of what our team has done, especially, I don't know actually if it's home or away. We've come out of the gates, I think, quite a lot, regardless. But we have that dip in the second that we've still trying to figure out and try to work on. But, teams make adjustments, and we've got to be able to adapt to that faster. But overall, kind of in that red zone or fifth set, the team really stepped up and rallied together. So it was a great finish.
What was your message to the team after that fourth set?
Well, this is where we finished. I mean, we've been in the fifth set before, but it had been a while. And so this wasn't unfamiliar territory, but we practiced this. So it was kind of just reminding them that we're prepared for this. Just because we've finished faster in matches in the more recent matches that we've played, that this is something that we prepare for all the time. So trying to stay calm through that, but at the same time, you've got to go for it because you got less points to play with.
Yes. So take me through that third set, because that third set I felt like really ended up being a big turning point in the match right there, and it came down basically all the way to the end. Both teams very low on the attack percentage on that one.
Yeah. Well, I think really big picture, but this pertains to the third set, is that we knew these matches were going to continue to get tougher and tougher and tougher, and that's a well-prepared team. We fully expected that. We were kind of dialing the rotations a little bit, against each other, and didn't get necessarily the matchup that we wanted, but you still had to play volleyball at the end of the day. Tu did a great job, and she's been a big emotional contributor for them, and so she was hitting pretty hot, and it allowed some of the others to step up as well and stay confident during that, and we knew it was just going to be blow for blow. But I think big picture is we have to keep in mind that we've got a lot of young and new players in these moments, and I think that's where you keep them focused kind of one point at a time, and they did that. But we just couldn't let any runs happen, and some of the time they got a hold of that, and some of the time we did, but we did a good job of kind of managing, I think, the game within the game in that third set of calling our timeouts when we had to, and getting defensive stops when we needed to.
As far as offense, one thing I always noticed there, Chloe. So Chloe, honestly, I felt like this was one of the best digging performances I've seen out of her recently. Like, she was just diving all over the court to get that. Just what was the big thing that you really needed to do defensively to get those kill attempts from Kansas State?
Well, I think early she was struggling, and so we decided to do a defensive switch between her and Caitlin Grimes, who had been a libero a couple years ago for us as well. So they've both played those roles. They're both comfortable, and day in and day out in practice, we have them playing both positions. So we wanted to see if that influenced anything that they did. It actually really didn't, but we were also starting to make a few more defensive plays. So that was really on Jason, who controls our defense and holistically, and so he made that change, and I was comfortable with it, and then kind of switched back, and Chloe was making some big plays at the end of the day, and got her composure kind of back together.
Lauren Clark ended up having to stand out there leading the team with 14 kills. Just when you see Lauren, always seems to be somebody that is a very clutch kind of player. You normally don't see her at the top of the charts unless she's doing something clutch like this. Just talk to me about how getting Lauren involved in these sorts of circumstances, how big it ended up being.
Yeah, well, she's really put in a lot of time, both in watching film as well as in practice, and learning different ways to score. Sometimes it's that big swing and that thunderous, bounce, but other times it's, using the block. Sometimes it's a finesse shot, and so she's just really worked on that and is comfortable, and I think gaining a lot of confidence as well of what tool to use at the right time. So been really proud of her through the stretch, really, she's gotten better and better in our gym.
Even saw Shoei get a few kills right there with that second ball fake out right there. How has it been working with her on offensively like that?
Oh, great. I think I've said this before, she's a learner, right? So she's finding different opportunities to do so and really keep the defense off balance. And that's when we talk about we have so many different contributors offensively. She's one of them.
This was also one of the more block-happy games I've seen in recent memory. I mean, those middles and Kansas State was putting up really made it hard for you guys. Just what was it like going up against those blockers for you?
Well, we expected that. We heard their coach talking about them being the best blocking, and defensive team in the conference, and I think that definitely revved us up because we've been working a lot on utilizing the block, to our advantage as an offensive team, and we held them a little bit under their numbers, So, but even one of the top blocking teams is still at 2.7 blocks per set, so under 3 points per set, from a very defensive-oriented team. So. We had to counter that. We did that with our serve a little bit tonight, and getting them out of system at times, at key times, I think, and then having to play defense around that because we knew that our transition game was more effective than theirs, and so we just knew that we needed to extend rallies.
Yeah, speaking of extended rallies, I think this was probably one of the times I've seen the most extended rallies I think I've seen in a while. Just talk about as far as just in terms of extending rallies when you end up getting those types of moments, because this match ended up going for quite a long time.
Yeah, it felt like it too. I'm sure Jenna will have plenty of good footage to send to the NCAA because there were some rallies and a half. But we train that way. We're prepared for that. I mean, sometimes it's even under a minute, but it feels like it's probably 5 minutes when you're going because it's an anaerobic sport, right? So they're pretty gassed, but that's what we're prepared for. And so, they knew that they had to keep chipping away and they couldn't go soft.
What would you say as far as letting Kansas State make mistakes? Because one thing I really noticed in that fifth set was you managed to really create separation because Kansas State was made some mistakes there.
Right. We knew that they had the tendency to do that. Again, we knew the numbers. We knew kind of where they got into trouble, and they can be really flashy, in that first ball. But in their transition game, they start getting safe. And so as long as we could play through that and make sure that when they were trying to tool off of us and tip and things like that, as long as we could pick that up and transition out of that, if they would come back to try to swing, they'd try to overcompensate, and that's where the errors started happening.
Would you say that this was how different or similar would you say that this match against Kansas State was as opposed to last time, because you were on the court for that one last year?
Gosh, it was so long ago. I barely remember the West Virginia match a few days ago. I know it was a reverse sweep. We went down the first two, and I think I do remember that we won the first set tonight. Last time we lost 23-25, and I think that we were really error prone. It was almost an inverse of kind of the first to second set. And last year we just were pressing really hard early and trying to do too much, whereas we kind of trust ourselves out of the gates. It's more that second set that we've got to, kind of not get too caught up about the errors.
Last question. You have now faced kind of the at least when you look at the RPI rankings, the lower half of the Big 12 conference. Now, from here, you move on to the upper half of the Big 12 conference. It only gets tougher from here. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think this team did this match that you want them to take with them as they go towards these tougher matches? This match was kind of like the introduction to that. Right.
Well, I mean, you can tell the team all you want, and they're even saying it too. They understand that every team is going to be completely prepared for you. They're going to make adjustments, and it's really limiting those runs, right? Because there's talent on both sides of the net. There's ability. There is preparation that at the end of the day, you just have to execute, and you can't you've got to be able to stop them and manage. It's a game of errors, and you have to manage that. And I think that we are still learning so much about ourselves and growing up in being able to manage the game. And that's where I think we did a really good job of that, of extending those plays and then knowing when to kind of put the pedal, the pedal to the floor and go.
All right, awesome. Well, best of luck out in Waco, Coach.
Thank you.